everybody there is having ChatGPT write their papers.
I think we're going to have to evolve along with it because, I mean, it was just a few years ago, people were like, well, I think that's a deepfake. And everyone's like, deepfake, whatever.
More and more and more people are yanking their kids out of both public and private schools and homeschooling. More and more, I see people yanking their kids out of school, doing homeschooling, putting them in private school. Now with this ChatGPT stuff, people aren't writing papers anymore. I was just talking to somebody that goes to Harvard Business School right now, and they were all, it's a veteran, they were all excited to get in there. They're in an Ivy League school now, and they're there, and everybody there is having ChatGPT write their papers, which in my mind, it seems like universities are going to become completely irrelevant. So do you think there may be a shift? Now, at the same token, they'll use AI to manipulate the entire population, I'm sure, but more and more people are coming out of the educational institutions. Do you think that could change?
See, the only challenge I ever shown is every time you ask me a question, there's like 15 things that I want to say in response to your questions because I think they probe right into a lot of areas I want to go. So let me try to. I need to be taking notes when you're talking about these things. I think that on the school, let's do schools and then university. Okay, so on the school front, there is an awakening about what is being taught to children in schools. Here's an example. Governor DeSantis, now that's my home state governor, so if anyone's wondering, why do I keep talking about Governor DeSantis? But I also think he's been the model for Republican governors. People can say whatever they want about who their favorite presidential candidate is. I don't take positions in Republican primaries for president. I don't do it. I don't take positions in Republican primaries, period. Because I focus my fire on the enemy, so to speak. But he did a press conference because they keep saying that they're banning books. You'll hear this. They're banning books. They're not banning books. I mean, if you say that, XXX films are not to be in the school library for kids to take out and watch at home, you're not banning adult, films or pornography. You're just saying we don't want this in the school library, right? This is very straightforward. When they say we don't want certain books in the third grade curriculum or in the grammar school library, it's exactly the same thing. But you'll notice it's a big talking point on the left. They say they ban books all the time. It's not true, and they want to connect it in people's minds to the Nazis burning books. I mean, there's always the left is much better at language than we are, which is something else we can talk about if you want. The left is much better at branding via language. But the DeSantis press conference, they had to pull away, meaning the media had to pull away from the press, because he was showing what was in these books. I mean, you're talking about, like, again, it's uncomfortable even to describe it, but you're showing that, fellatio, and you're showing, to children in these books. This is what's actually...
That's actually in the book.
In the books.
For third graders.
Yeah, for third graders. They have access to... The media had to pull away from what DeSantis was showing in the books that are allowed because they couldn't air it, Shawn. And that was the whole brilliance of the press conference. Oh, you think we're banning books? You can't even show your adult audience what is in these books that the Democrats want in these school libraries. By the way, the Don't Say Gay bill, another thing in that state, which is not the not actually a Don't Say Gay bill, it's the Parental Rights and Education bill. But Democrats, by a majority in the state of Florida, were in favor of it, which you never heard about. Because they don't want their kids being told, a majority, not all of them, there are some who are, my 8-year-old is like a non-cisgender, whatever, right? That's very sad, and it's child abuse, and it's a whole other conversation. But the Democrats in the state of Florida, the ones who were, seeing this with sanity to their credit, they were in favor of it. So, of the bill, the Parental Rights and Education bill. So people are awake on the school level and homeschooling, but even more than that, why allow your local school board to be run by zealot lunatics?
Well, is this out in the media at all? These DeSantis showing these books? Because I'm going to insert the clip on this episode.
Oh yeah,
if it is.
Oh yeah,
Okay.
oh
So
for
then
sure.
it'll
Yeah,
be-
you can
it'll be
find
up.
it. Yeah. They pulled away from the press conference because DeSantis held a press conference where he's like, "Look at what's in these books." And this is the thing. I think people, we all want to live our lives, and you can get desensitized to the level of crazy that's out there right now, just because. Or I shouldn't even say there's desensitization, but there's also just you want to remove yourself from it. You're like, how is this? We can't even engage because we have to engage, and parents are finding out. And again, speaking as a result of people I know who've joined school boards, I have a friend, Ryan Gerdusky, who now at a national level is trying to push for more involvement. He's got a PAC. He tries to push for more, conservative parents to get involved in their school boards. It's really important. I mean, what your kids are being taught. It's sad. I have people that will call on the radio show, and or usually actually these are more emails. There's so many ways people reach out to you, reach out to me. They'll email and they'll say, my 20-year-old has come back from Oberlin, or Mizzou, or wherever, Reed College, Wesleyan. A 20-year-old has come back and thinks that my husband is like a mansplaining, white supremacist troglodyte, and I, am not woke enough, and all of this other stuff. Like, what do I do? And there's no good answer, because at that point, the process has gone so far along that if you weren't building those values and really building wisdom and virtue, things that no one even talks about anymore, building wisdom and virtue in your children at a young age, because that is their only defense against this stuff later on. The reality is, I think that some people are too late on this. And then there's the school component. Look, I know a ton of people went to business school. I almost went to business school. I went into the media instead. And it was because I didn't want to take out loans, honestly. I was just like, I just didn't want debt. I hate debt. Strategic debt is fine, right? Like buying properties that are an asset, but student loan debt, I didn't want it. And I thought about business school. People have to understand that most universities now are a credentialing program where the credential becomes less and less valuable with each passing year. Nobody cares. No one has ever given me a job because of where I went to school. No one has ever really cared, I think, about where I went to school. It's always just been about hustle, finding the right place, the right time, maneuvering, being relentless. I think we're going to have to evolve along with it, because, it was just a few years ago, people were like, well, I think that's a deepfake. And everyone's like, deepfake, whatever. No, now there actually will be deepfakes. This will be a thing. And even if it's not genuine as a deepfake, being able to say it, look what they did with the Hunter Biden laptop, bears all the hallmarks of. So you can say, well, I don't know if this video is fake when it's real, but it bears all the hallmarks of AI-generated content. And that's all that it takes for a lot of people to say, you know what, I don't believe it's real. So we're heading into a realm of unreality that I think very few people are prepared for. And how this affects the university system. Look, most college education at this point is a 4-year period of, for a lot of people, socializing, maybe drinking and partying, and doing the bare minimum and having the most fun they can, with the idea that they'll get serious about life afterwards. Not true about everyone, but true of most people in most schools. And increasingly, I think there's an understanding that the skills you get from these schools, because the humanities have been so polluted with Marxist nonsense and deconstruction of literature instead of actually reading it and understanding it, Shakespeare didn't know anything. The professor that's telling you what Shakespeare should have said, or why Shakespeare is a misogynist, white supremacist, radical, whatever, right? That's what you're, being taught in a lot of these places now. Just utter nonsense. So I think the whole university system is, these are hedge funds that are operating classes now. That's what Harvard is. It's a hedge fund that has classes. And there's so many ways to get in that when someone tells me they went to a school and I'm supposed to think that's impressive, I do not. I don't care. I don't know. It could be. Brilliant people go to these schools. Brilliant people go to MIT and Harvard and whatever. Morons go to them as well. That's a fact.
Well, I guess what I'm asking, Buck, is do you think this could be a turning point? Because I feel like in the last couple of years, we're hitting a turning point where parents are taking control of their kids' education again.
Yes.
Like you said, COVID unveiled everything. It we had a lot of bored people out there that started diving into what the hell is going on and uncovered all kinds of shit in every sector, right? Well, here in Williamson County, I brought this up on other shows, that more and more and more people are yanking their kids out of both public and private schools and homeschooling. Then you bring up this AI, then we bring up the AI stuff where, I mean, ChatGPT is doing school for the students, which makes school irrelevant.
Hey everybody, I'm Shawn Ryan. Click here to subscribe to the Shawn Ryan Show YouTube channel for the hottest and most compelling interviews that you will not see anywhere else. I've also made a playlist of all the previous SRS episodes so they're easy to find. You can find that right here.